So on our second trial, as we mentioned, we are doing spinach green, and this time the solvent's isopropyl alcohol, and this was the separation that we saw. Again, you do not have to draw this, as that drawing is replicated right here in the lab report. If we look right over here, this is the spinach green, the isopropyl alcohol, and there it is, the second trial. And now they want us to calculate the RF value for the spot that's indicated. So we look back on our lab. This looks to be the same band again. But take a look at what happened to the RF value. This is the one they're asking us to do. The solvent, which is going to be in the denominator or the bottom, went 6.2. But this spot right here looks as though it went about 1.4 or so. So the numerator or the top number would be 1.4. The bottom number or denominator is going to be about 6.2. That's the solvent front. That's how far the solvent traveled. And if we take those two numbers and divide those, we get 0.22. So the 1.4 would go on top. The 6.2 would go on the bottom. And that comes out to an RF value of 0.22. And we need to write the name of the color on the line right there. Now, in your actual lab, they may have you identify different bands. You will identify whatever band they ask. The arrow might be pointing to this one, this one, this one. Whichever one they ask you to identify is the one you'll identify. So we have 0.22. I look on our chart right here. Again, the show the chart, show the scale are right there. Show the scale, show the chart. There we go. The difference is 0.22. That looks to be dark green. That's chlorophyll B. I come over here, click chlorophyll B. I did it right. I know I have the correct calculation. And I know my lab is working again. The spinach green will not have the anthocyanin. That's red. That pigment is not in spinach green. Interestingly enough, this band was 0.22 RF value on this trial. But on the other trial, when we had the ether acetone solvent, it was a different number. Well, your RF value is really showing you how much the solvent is pulling on the color in the mixture and how much it's attracted to the paper. Well, different solvents will have a different pull, resulting in a different RF value. That's why the different colors or pigments in that leaf, the RF values will change depending on the solvent. So then we will be comparing the maple leaves in the spring and the summer versus the maple leaves in autumn, winter. And we will use the same solvent because we're trying to compare what pigments are dominant or present in that leaf during those different seasons. So if we change the solvent and change the leaf, the season from which we got the leaf, then we would have two variables. We only want one variable, so that is why the solvent stayed the same. We'll calculate the RF value for whatever band they identified. It'll be different ones for different groups, and that will complete the calculation section. The data and observation section we've completed for you so that you didn't have to try to draw those using markers or whatever. Now we go on to the conclusion. They want you to do the, I don't even know how to say that, the viva voce or whatever the word is. They want you to take the quiz. Where is that? If you look on the lab report, that would be right here. Click on that, and that will be a short quiz that they will want you to do for the conclusion. And then the second part of the conclusion are questions that you need to answer based on comparing these different chromatography results. So you'll answer in part B, you're going to be answering questions. There's the questions you will be answering in part B. And you'll be explaining your reasoning for those different questions. And our last question would be 6, part A, part B. And then we come to watching the video, Khan Academy video on column chromatography, which is a different way of doing chromatography. On this one, they'll show you how you can do chromatography with a solvent, and instead of using paper, they will use a different stationary phase, and this video will take you right through there. and there is a link for you on our assignment in Google Classroom how to reach that video. It's always a good idea when we're doing these things. Again, this lab will be Thursday and Friday of this week, or whatever day you'll be doing this. And here is some written instructions. You should always read over the written instructions, which will take you through there. And you'll find those links right underneath, along with a help video to clear up any confusion that you'll have on the lab. So do the lab, complete the lab report on 2-6, take a look at the answer key, which is right down here as well. Compare your work to the answer key. Of course, the answer key cannot do the RF values for the calculations in the calculation section, because different groups will be, or different people will be asked to find RF values for different colors. That gets switched. It's kind of random. But the conclusion questions are all on there, so you'll have a chance to compare your work to answers. If you have any questions on any of that, if the help videos do not clear up any of the confusion, just make sure you email me and we can get together to clear up any confusion you have on the lab report. Good luck. When you're finished, go ahead and submit that through Google Classroom.